Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Here basically I are discussing one of the topic that is city creation. And in city creation, basically we are discussing one of the topic that is future creation. And in future creation, basically we are discussing one topic that is India account, Amazon account, and after 2 days, basically the big earthquake is going to come to India. So just now, basically one cyclone basically came. So I'm not talking about that cyclone. I'm talking about some big earthquakes. If big earthquakes will come, then aftershock basically is always there. So I'm talking about that earthquakes. So one person told that 3 lakh is the power supply, and on the base of 3 lakh, basically the world is ongoing. If that 3 lakh land will end, world is automatically ended. So there is no the satellite group basically are not supposed to end the whole world basically. They just need to end that 3 lakh land. That's all basically. And in that 3 lakh land also basically one land is there basically in the world basically which is controlling this 3 lakh land. So they just have to finish that land only. Basically. That's all basically. Their task is done. Rest of thing will automatically happen basically. So one person told that which is that land basically. So that land will be in front of the public basically. So that is not possible. Otherwise, basically, the public might have tracked this long before. So mostly it might be in mountain, it might be in sea water, or basically it might be in some underground land basically, where the Sri Krishna God basically entire Nagari was ended basically. That was, I think, Dwarka. So that possibilities are there. So the Dwarka land might be the land basically the main power supply. That power supply ended, world ended. So the main land basically which is supplying the power supply, that mostly basically public are not supposed to go to that land area. But then also few people basically go to that area basically, to display basically this is the main power supply and we know that basically. So you can just imagine basically to just display purpose they basically go to that area basically. That is world basically. That is the world basically. So one person told that. So why displaying basically? For example, one person told that Sunil, basically you have not got the job, right? But still, the software companies basically have not responded. The consultancy basically is telling that basically we will let you know. We are not supposed to give you job basically. The company decide basically you are supposed to get the job or not basically. So that's basically. And one person basically told that the consultant basically has taken money basically to display the resume basically. So the resume is getting displayed, or basically they have money taken the money so that the resume is not supposed to display. So that is ulta basically, backside basically. So one person told that currently basically there is actually war ongoing. In that war basically more than 20 crore Muslims are ended. More than 20 crores. So basically you will not able to believe it. Basically. But this is not displayed in front of the world. If it will get displayed, the India will get blast basically. In India basically lots of blast will happen. If they will say that basically हमारे भाई लोग मर गए 20 करोड़, they will get mad basically. 20 crore is a not normal amount, normal number basically. It's not a normal number basically. हमारे 20 करोड़ लोग मर गए. If they will got this information basically in India, they will fire the India basically. I am telling you basically. Then one of the person told that they might be knowing it basically, but there is no value of the outsider Muslim basically. Outsider Muslim basically there is no value in India basically. So that's why basically they are not telling anything and they are not doing anything. So what's basically we are supposed to do? So one person basically told that also if the Muslim group basically are not aware that there 20 crore people basically has died. So why basically we are aware about this? Why basically you are telling that basically that 20 crore has died? So let basically ignore it basically. Then one of the person told that slowly basically the Muslim population basically will get end also. That is also basically possible. So if we will not wake up early basically, then it will be like this. So that's basically not our topic basically. So here basically the topic is what? 3 lakh power supply. So in that power supply basically is it written basically that it's a Muslim power supply, it's a Hindu power supply? I don't think basically it's written basically. Because in universe basically there is no casteism. In universe basically there is no casteism. But in universe basically Earth planet has created casteism. Earth planet group has created a casteism. The Earth planet land basically which is created, there basically there is not a casteism. But Earth planet group basically has created some universe. There basically the casteism is created. So casteism creation basically started from India. Sorry, from world basically. So from world basically the casteism started. So one person told that 20 crore died basically Muslims. That is the example of casteism. Just a minute. So one person told 20 crore people basically died now. That is the example of casteism. Just a minute. So one person told the yeah, but so what actually you are having this basically? This is actually one Ayurvedic medicine basically. If you get any sardi, khansi basically, that is basically good basically. So just a minute. So one person told them 20 crore people has died here. So one other person told that Sunil basically you are not getting job now basically. This is not a issue basically. The people basically dying basically see 20 crore people basically died. 20 crore Muslim basically died. So you are basically just not getting a job basically. So see the basically problem of Muslim group basically who are basically staying in India basically, and they are silently basically they are not doing anything. They might be knowing basically Indian Muslim basically might be knowing that 20 crore basically Muslim basically has died basically. 20 crore Muslim and lots of Christian also basically died. So one person told that there might be some issue basically in the world basically might be ongoing of Muslim group basically. So why basically you are aware about it? No, basically, then basically Sunil Arnett told that basically I was just searching basically job no basically. That time basically I got this information. So from somewhere basically from the portal basically when I was applying basically that time basically I got the information by searching job basically that 20 crore people already died basically. But Sunil basically lot has not got the job. So but Sunil basically has not got the job. Just a minute. So one person told that in Muslim basically in India basically all are Behrupiyas. They are not real Muslims. They are not real Muslims. They are basically converted. the people who are Muslim basically, really Muslim basically, they basically might not be knowing or basically might be knowing what basically. We can't basically say 100%. If they assume that basically some 20 crore people basically died of Muslim, so people basically why they are quite here, that is basically question. Then one person told that there might not be value of outsider Muslim basically in India. That also might be correct. Basically. That also might be correct. Then one of the person told that the kings basically of Dubai, Sharjah, the kings basically of Abu Dhabi, the kings of Saudi, they basically visits in India and they basically do the investment. Why? Because they say that basically तो हमारे भाई लोग हैं. But their people basically are dying 20 crore. India basically is not aware. So you can just imagine basically the Saudi Arab basically is aware that basically in India Muslim groups are getting problem. That's why basically they are investing. But Indian group basically are not aware that 20 crore people basically died. So that is not strange. That is India basically. That is India basically. One person told that just a minute. One person told that Sunil basically are not getting job. The main reason is you have basically done the fasting of Hanumanji. So due to this Hanuman fasting basically, you have not got the job. One person told up to this level basically because he can't see the problem basically. So one person told that Sri Jai Hanuman, that means Sri Ram group basically. Their groups only basically are creating problem. Basically. No other groups are basically aware about your job basically. You are doing fasting of Hanumanji, 35 years. So that group only is basically are creating the Ayodhya that means. But everybody knows that basically whatever in front of the world basically is that is wrong basically. So people basically who are handling the Ayodhya Ram Mandir, they are from outside basically. It might possible they might be in India somewhere, but they might not be in Uttar Pradesh. That much basically I can tell you. So just a minute. So one person told that by Sunil R. Nair basically experience, nobody is going to do fasting basically of Hanuman basically. By Sunil R. Nair experience basically, I visited to Mumbai, I visited to Bangalore, many places basically I visited, but I had not got there. And currently basically I'm in Vadodara, that is Gujarati city. You are not getting job, that means there is some problem in your casteism. Basically. Somebody has tracked that basically. You are doing fasting of Hanumanji. So that basically somebody has tracked. I don't know how basically they tracked. So it's not connecting to you basically. The problem is with Hanumanji and Sram Janmabhoomi basically. It's directly connecting to that only basically. And that is done by whom? UP and Bihar and Madhya Pradesh group. Basically. So that group is creating problem to you basically. Because other group basically are not supposed to abide basically. It's correct or not basically, we can't say. But practically, this is correct. Basically. One person told that I will take one story basically. This is real story basically. One person basically was that basically. That was actually my friend. Assume that basically that was me. Assume that. I basically started a journey from Mumbai basically. There basically I was performing good basically. Slowly basically I performed basically very good basically. Few people basically doesn't like that. So they started creating problem. They basically first injected poison in my foods wherever basically I was going for food. There basically poison was dumped. So I was basically bachelor that time basically, and currently basically I'm divorcee. So they basically started creating problem. Then basically they thought that yeah, ye to. Then basically I admitted also in the hospital many times. Then also basically he was not reacting basically. That was Mumbai local. That basically I don't know whether local people was there or basically some other people were basically there. That basically we are not aware. Why? Because nowadays basically anybody can speak Marathi basically. That also basically the people who are Marathi they also basically can't understand. He is Marathi or basically not. So we can't basically judge. So one person told that like that's basically is okay. Then basically he told that yeah. Then also basically it's not written. Then basically they started hitting physically me basically. Hitting physically means they were slapping me, this, that, basically each and everything basically they were doing. Basically. Then also basically that person basically that means me basically. Here basically I take an example of myself. That is basically me. Then also basically he was not reactive. Then they basically I don't know what they have done basically. From stool basically that is from where basically we do the stool. From there basically lots of blood basically started coming basically. Then also basically he was not reacting. That means he was so peace basically will not able to believe it basically. Then basically they thought that basically yaar ye to abhi still basically is not reacting. So basically they planned one HIV AIDS girl basically marriage, and they told her basically we will give him AIDS basically. So they basically literally given him AIDS basically through marriage. But early basically he's from somewhere basically he got the information that that girl basically was having AIDS disease from some his local information. But till that time, basically, he was too late. Basically, why? Because till then, basically, they have ended his generation also. They have done the Nasbandi of that boy also. Assume that basically that was me basically. But till then, basically, it was too late basically because they have ended the generation. World basically has not ended. That much basically I can give you the surety. So just a minute. World has not ended. So world has not ended basically. So one person told that. Still basically he is not reacting. Basically. Still basically he was not reacting. But when he reacted basically that time basically it was when basically do you know basically when second marriage plan basically was ongoing and he basically done the second marriage in that second marriage basically tracked that basically he was connected with the AIDS disease that also just effect basically was there and after that basically he got the medicine he basically treated medicine also basically from one of the doctor basically still basically he was not able to aware basically that he was basically having the AIDS doctor basically done the treatment also basically so that basically he is not supposed to have it because if one person will get the information that basically he basically got a marriage and from that marriage basically got AIDS, then it will create like a world war basically. More than 20 crore people basically die. So currently basically I'm not telling that basically the Muslim people basically died due to this marriage basically. So that basically I'm not telling directly basically. So just a minute. So one person told that his generation also ended with it. So when he basically done the second marriage, that time basically he was not having the child. That time basically he tracked that his Nasbandi was planned by first marriage group basically. And that people basically were rich basically. And rich means cricket group basically. Because cricketer basically are connected with all the rich. That's why basically 18.2 condition has taken basically. On last day of last ball. Last over basically. So one person told that the rich group basically can do anything basically. And a person like Sunil Arnair basically is not getting a single job. And the knowledge basically of Sunil Arnair basically is up to the good level. Basically. That also up to the extraordinary level. Reason rich group basically are like that. So here basically I am not telling that basically some rich group basically has created a problem, this, that basically. Or any some cricket group basically has created a problem. That basically I am not telling. Because 18.2 is already done. So now basically if anybody do whatever basically that there is no basically issue. You can do whatever. But condition is already done. So one person told that cricket must exist on last day of world. That is the condition. Basically. And do you think basically cricket will end? That is not going to. So that's why cricket has kept as a condition. So one of the person told that assume that basically one person told yeah assume basically that today basically world is going to end. So somebody basically might have planned basically that at this exact second basically the last person is going to end. And few people basically are telling that basically the last person will be the from India only basically. Lots of people says that the last person should be from India, not should be basically, would be from India, might be from India, basically. But why? Because the highest population country basically going to end last. Basically. So that is basically few conditions basically are there. So on last day basically, the last country and the last person basically might might end basically. So that would be India only. Basically. Why? Because India is the highest population of country basically of the world basically. After that basically China comes. So one of the person told that so last two country going to end basically that would be China and India. CHINA Chai CHAINA China and India. Basically. So one person told that China basically is CHINA is a country basically and the country's land area is around 9.597 basically million kilometer double basically and the India is 3.287 millimeters million kilometers and double. So this is the land basically which is going to end last. This is the land basically which is going to end last. Why? They are the highest. One is India and I am basically in India. And second basically is the China. That is also near about near country of India. Basically. So you can just imagine basically this is the data basically. So one of the person wrote that means one of the person basically told basically that all condition basically will satisfy, then only basically the world will end. That is basically one must condition, basically. Because world end means what basically? All conditions should satisfy. Then only basically the world is going to end. Condition means what basically? One person basically asked the question. Condition is that power supply data basically. Because there is no need of ending the world basically. The world will end automatically basically. Why? That power supply basically of land basically, there basically something will happen. The rest of power supply, that is 3 lakh power supply, will automatically will get end just within 1 second basically, and rest of world basically will end in another second. So within 1 or 2 seconds basically the world will end. So maximum 2 seconds, maximum 3 seconds. In that basically everything will get end. So lots of people basically might be thinking basically, yeah, इतना बड़ा वो दुनिया है basically. Some time basically is going to take to end the world. It is not going to take some time. It is just going to take fraction of 1 or 2 seconds. Maximum basically something basically happens that will be 3 seconds. So you can just imagine the planning of universe basically. Planning of universe. So just within after 2 3 seconds basically, it might possible that world will end basically. But that will happen basically. One of the person basically asked the question that might happen. Possibilities basically are there, but matrix basically can end the world basically. Matrix of the creation basically of the human body parts might end the world basically. Because human bodies are up to that level powerful basically. One person told that the person basically was in Mumbai basically, he was not reacting. For that basically they have done the plan of HIV AIDS girl basically. You can just imagine basically the human nature. That is the Indian nature basically. It's Indian basically. So rest of country basically might be basically how? Because in Sanskrit and Tamil basically has created the world basically. So how would be the rest of world basically? They might be more dangerous basically. If in India basically this type of activity is happening, so rest of country basically might be more dangerous basically. So one of the satellite person told that basically just for basically he was not reacting, he was basically performing good basically. He was doing good job basically, he was earning good money basically. They finished his life only basically by AIDS. And condition basically of the company is AIDS people basically can't get the job. So just for happiness basically you ended his world basically. Sorry, ended his life basically. Just basically for your happiness basically you ended his world basically. Just for happiness purpose basically you ended that person's world basically. That person's life because he was not reacting basically. So one person told this is the world basically. And this is everything is done. So you can just imagine basically. One person basically can't stay peacefully basically life. Can't stay a peaceful life also. That is basically in India. In India basically one of the person told that यार तेरे को बहुत पहले निकल जाना था इंडिया से. If you might have left India long before, then 18.2 condition might not have happened. But everything is done basically. One person told that you were supposed to exit long before India. But now basically it's too late. Everything is too late now basically. World basically, yes. Lots of people says that world mostly basically has ended because world is basically in front of nuclear bomb basically. Anytime basically that nuclear bomb will get blast, and in that basically whole world will come into picture, and responsible group basically who basically that basically we are not supposed to tell. So that's basically the government issue. Basically. That's not our issue basically. Government are supposed to take care of the reservation of the each and every people basically. They have trusted businessmen, so they have ended the country basically. They have ended the India basically. They actually trusted businessmen basically. They thought that basically businessmen the hand basically. They will take care of basically that each and every reservation basically. But they have not done basically. They have not done. So in India basically it's Tata, Ambani's and Mittal group basically. And nowadays basically the Adani groups are also basically. So they trusted this group basically. And one of the local basically uh, BJP party and Congress party told that basically, "Arey yaar, Sunil Thakkar, you basically has not got job basically in Mumbai basically yaar." Because in Mumbai basically the big Tata groups, Ambani's group and Adani groups and Mittal group basically this type of people basically are staying. In that city basically you are not got the job. That means we have done the big mistake basically by trusting the businessman basically. We trusted basically businessmen that basically we had done big mistake basically. Then businessmen basically started telling that by we have to do well up to what level basically. We have to see ourselves or basically we will do what to say basically say. That is also point basically. They will take care of themselves basically or they will take care they basically might have to take care of others basically. So they are telling that basically we are not getting the money basically. So money basically that means 1 lakh crore, 2 lakh crore basically. That is not money basically. 1 lakh crore, 2 crore basically is not money. So you can just imagine basically this everything is done basically. So one person basically told that there is no need of nuclear bomb basically. Nuclear bomb की जरूरत ही नहीं है basically. One person told that there is no nuclear bomb basically. That power supply land is there basically. That's all basically. One of the person told that there in that land basically what we have to do that basically. That is also a question basically because that is the land basically. Assume that basically that is the Dwarka land, the Dwarka under sea basically land. In that sea basically what you are going to do here basically that is question basically. What you will do that basically there basically you are going to read some slope basically. That land will convert to poison basically. In that land basically what you are going to do basically. One person told that basically if you will inject some poison basically in that water basically, then also basically the entire power supply that is the 3 lakh power supply will get effect basically. Nothing is going to affect. That is just going to affect to that water basically because you don't know from which area basically the power supply are coming. That's why basically that it has kept to particular specific location basically. So when Dwarka was ended basically and which has went under the sea basically, that time basically some place basically was fixed by the universe group only. That this would be that place from where basically the whole world basically might be getting the power supply. Might be getting the power supply. So because this is the only space basically which one of the person told that mountain is not possible. But mountain basically can't give the power supply to land basically up to the land. Why? Because mountain is too high basically. And to get the power supply to the land basically, you have to do lots of process basically. So that is possibilities are less basically. But here the sea water basically under the sea water, that possibilities are more. That possibilities are more basically. That possibilities are more. So one of the person told that that Dwarka land, here basically I'm just taking as an example of Dwarka land, but in real basically it can be some other sea land also. Basically. It can be some other sea land also, where basically human can't basically reach. But possibility is 98 percentage. It is sea water under land only. Basically. Sea water under land is the possibilities basically. So in detail, basically, we will be going to display about this main power supply and the rest of 3 lakh power supply basically, which is giving the power supply to whole world. If they will stop the power supply, then within 2 minutes basically, the 2 second basically, the world will end. That means within 2 seconds the world will end. So that possibilities are there. So next video basically we are going to see a little bit more about this topic, that is the main power supply, land, and the 3 lakh power supply land basically, and the main power supply will get off, the rest of power supply, that is the 3 lakh land, will get off automatically. The world will get the power supply, and power supply means building is standing. How basically it's standing? That is through this power supply. That is the best example. Sea water basically is within the boundary basically of the, within the boundary basically which is drawn, but power supply will get, and the entire sea water will come under the, will come inside the city basically. So that is power supply I'm talking about. So within 2 seconds basically the world will end. So in next video basically we are going to see a little bit more detail basically how basically if world will end basically within 2 seconds basically. So what are the things basically going to end first, and each and every sequence basically we are going to see in next video.